Joining us to continue the conversation of insecurity is Idris Rufai, as we joins us via Skype to talk about major issues happening in Nigeria. Good morning, Idris. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you too.
All right, let's talk about an issue now. There's a story on the, I'm sure you're aware of the, everybody is aware of the insecurity challenges facing the country at a time like this. But there's a story that the Punch put as ACF Ohanaeze PDP slams Buhari as presidency alleges coup. Now, there were reports on Tuesday how the presidency said there were plans by small groups and bodies to overthrow the government and plan a coup. Let me ask, when you got that report, how did you react to it?
Yeah, it was shocking because, let me explain it this way. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let me explain it this way. There was a time in this country when the federal government said that they knew those who were behind, those who were sponsoring the Boko Haram insurgents. And then that at the proper time that the names will be released. Now, I'm not sure any name was released. Now, the government is saying another thing now that they have intelligence or information that some group of people or persons are trying to overthrow the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. I think saying such a thing, you know, in a nation that is soaked with so much tension and insecurity, is very dangerous. It is dangerous because if you make such an assumption, I call it an assumption because you cannot say such a thing without backing it up with the names of those whom you have discovered to have been behind, you know, such a thing. I mean, such thing. So it is very shocking in the sense that the government needs to understand that we are talking about issues that have to do with national security, and if you have, you know, credible intelligence to the effect that certain Nigerians or persons are trying to overthrow the federal government, you should be able to back your information or your intel up with the names of those individuals. So
Okay.
It is very shocking.
Okay, thank you for that clarity, talking about backing such allegations with names and facts. Now, still on this issue, you're aware of the Greenfield abduction, where one student was released yesterday. Now, Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, an Islamic cleric, came out to make claims that if the Central Bank of Nigeria does not pay the 100 million naira sum these kidnappers are demanding, they will carry out their threat on these students. Now, this is my question. We are aware of the fact that ransom has been paid in time past, even though some governments, however, denied paying ransom to release kidnappers. And despite the fact that ransom has been paid, rather than seeing a decline, we're seeing an increase. What will you say to that?
Okay, my direct response to that is that if you're dealing with insecurity that has to do with insurgency or terrorism, it's a terrible thing to deal with. So on one hand, I feel for government. But the reason why government is in place is to solve problems. You recall that President Muhammadu Buhari went to all the nook and cranny of this country when he was conversing or campaigning for votes. So it is safe to say that the president or whoever that is, you know, is the president of any nation begs the people for votes to become their president. So the interpretation, the meaning of that is that you are telling them that you are fit to solve their problem. So that's the point. So dealing with insurgency is a serious problem, and it takes a lot of strategic planning to be able to deal with it. You know. So now what Sheikh Gumi is saying now, you know, explain how dire the situation is. When you have an individual who happens or seems to have, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
When you have an individual who seems to have more intel than the federal government itself, you know, it shows how porous our security architecture and then the mechanism or, you know, means through which we get intel to be able to tackle this insurgency. So it's a dire situation. It's a really, really, really dire situation.
Okay.
You see, this idea, sorry, if I may add, this idea of not negotiating with the bandits or terrorists, is actually copied from the U.S. government. U.S. government has a long-standing policy of not negotiating with terrorists. But you see, the point is there is what we call back-channel negotiation. Governments all over the world employ back-channel negotiations to free their citizens. What that means is that, yes, you can come in public to acknowledge or to say that you gave money to free your citizens, but you can use people, faceless people, who can ensure that you comply with the demands of these captors, of these terrorists, in order to save lives. Because in the first place, the social contract theory stipulates that government is in place, to deliver security and welfare to the people in exchange for the submission of civil liberty, of the people to government. So back-channel negotiation is used anywhere in the world. I cannot imagine, thinking that we have kids in captivity and then they are being slaughtered one after the other in order to ensure, because these bandits want to put government on its own, to pay the amount of ransom they are demanding for. So it is very sad.
Okay, now, you talked about back-channel negotiations. Now, in a country like Nigeria, where we've seen an increase, particularly in the area of student abduction, and there can be, we're not too sure, or let's assume there has been back-channel negotiations. Don't you think that is one of the reasons why this has increased, considering the fact that when demands are made, the federal government allegedly or reportedly meets the demand? Don't you think this is what stirs these bandits and kidnappers to keep up with the act?
Okay, the point is, when this back-channel, negotiation is employed, what that will mean is that you will have the release of these students in large numbers. We cannot rule out the fact that I think one of the students was released yesterday.
Yes.
We cannot rule out the fact that it may be as a result of the fact that the parents of this particular student raised money, paid it through whatever means to the bandits, and said, this is the ransom for our team. You will not blame a parent for doing that. You will not blame a parent or parents for going any length to secure the release of their team in captivity. So now, what to ascertain if these channels are being employed by government? These bandits, make their demands long ago. These students will be almost 2 months in captivity. Now, if the back channel negotiation had been employed properly, then you would have secured the release of these kids. So it's as simple as that. Look at what Shegumi just said today, in the paper, that what you need to do is to give this, Central Bank of Nigeria should give, the bandits what they demanded so that they can release the kids. So if there had been back channel negotiation, then we wouldn't have been able to secure the release of all or most of the students in captivity.
Okay, now let's still on this issue now. This is not the first time Shegumi is coming out to state information or conversation he had with the bandits. Now, this brings to mind the question, if there's a particular person that has right or access to these kidnappers and bandits, and we recall that according to the Punch, one of the parents allegedly spoke with these bandits where they made their demand known. With all of this information that has been gathered, why do you think the country or the army have not been able to use this information to arrest the situation?
That's a very brilliant question, and thank you for that question. You see, the point is, I think I said it in one of my discussions yesterday. As we are today, Sarah, and this is the truth, the bandits, the terrorists, are actually operating from the position of strength in Nigeria, while the government, be it federal or state, is operating from a position of weakness. Why? The reason is that we have given space, too much space for these criminals to organize, and to become more deadly. Banditry, terrorism in Nigeria has become an organized crime because we allow them enough space to be able to do that. Now they have means of getting their weapons, they have means of funding and all of that. So, solving or tackling them or attacking them or capturing them now has become so difficult. Meanwhile, it is not impossible. So it takes a lot of strategy, it takes a lot of intelligence, and it takes a lot of ideas from any way government can get it to be able to tackle it. So the simple answer to it is that we have allowed this problem to become so serious. We have allowed these criminals to become so organized. That is why it is difficult to capture them. You should ask yourself that immediately the students in Kankara, I think Kankara in Niger, in Katsina State, were kidnapped. Mm-hmm. That was when this policy of suspending SIM registration from telcos, was handed down by the Minister of Communication, to show up national security. So why is it that we have not been able to use the SIM line, the SIM,
the database,
through which these bandits communicate with the parents of the kids or even the government or those who are fronting from the government. Why have we not been able to use the SIM card, or the phone to track them down? Something is wrong with our security architecture. We are not deploying technology as we should to be able to tackle insurgency.
Okay, talking about developing technology, arms and ammunitions, there were reports earlier how that the army stated that they did not have enough funds to get the proper ammunition and weapons and technology they needed to fight these bandits. But just on the Punch newspaper this morning, we have it here as the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, had stated that her ministry released over 1 trillion naira to the army between 2019 and 2021 in order to fight terrorism. Yet we still have the conversation around improper funding. Why are we still talking about funds at this moment when, according to this statement, the army was given enough funds? Why do you think we still have that conversation right now?
Lack of strategic plan to tackle insecurity. Lack of strategic plan to tackle insecurity. That is the answer. For instance, I was listening to the Minister of Finance yesterday, saying that, like you said, that they disbursed over 1 trillion naira to the military over the course of 2 years, and yet we still have this problem. So the question you should ask is, are we throwing money at insecurity, or security if you like, or spending our money strategically to ensure that we curb this problem of insecurity? Ensuring security, can you hear me? Ensuring security in a nation as big as Nigeria requires more than earmarking or voting, money, to solve it. You need intelligence, you need ideas, you need collaboration, you need all the advice you can get from whoever. So the government to ensure that all of these means are actually employed. The government should stop tagging people as enemies of the state because they disagree with them on the issue of security. I don't want to believe that there is any government who will wish that there is insecurity during its reign. No, I do not want to believe that. So that is to say that we are all in it together. But people will only support a government who is ready to listen to ideas and who is ready to recognize that whatever criticism that is directed towards them because of lack of security in the country is said or is directed in good faith. So it goes beyond the issue of money. The chairman of the Senate Committee on the Army, Senator Aliu Ndume, specifically said yesterday that he has gone around all the military formations army formations in Nigeria. Sarah, listen to this. He said that Senator Aliu Ndume said he has gone around all the army formations in Nigeria, and he discovered that there is no brand new AK-47 rifle in all of these formations. We are talking about a country of over 200 million. Can you beat that? And yet we're fighting insecurity. What are we talking about? So it goes beyond throwing money at security, at the military.
Okay.
You know.
So do you think that, because there was a conversation surrounding setting up a panel of inquiry to look into how the funds are spent, how to, get these people, do you think truly setting a special body, a special panel of inquiry would be a step towards fighting this? Okay, we would have to have Idris Rufai join us later in the review to continue the conversation on insecurity.